Hi, everyone. Welcome to our third in a four-part series of beginner Kundalini Yoga or introduction to Kundalini Yoga. So today we're going to revisit some concepts. We're going to start making this a little bit more of a seamless process as you start to integrate this practice, maybe even into your daily life. So remember, we'll start with the Adi mantra, our tune-in, Ong Namo Gurudev Namo. And then we'll do the Mangalacharan mantra, which is Ad Gare Name, Jugad Gare Name, Sat Gare Name, Siri Gurudeve Name. I know it's a mouthful, so you can just hum along and eventually learn it. You can look it up at home. So we'll start with that. But before we tune in, I want to just go over a couple of new concepts that will be introduced today in our Kriya. We're doing Kriya of Vastu today, which literally translates to finding your place in space. So a couple of new things that we'll be playing with and I'll be offering to you are, remember, we have our long, slow, deep breathing, and we have breath of fire and kind of that whole range in between those two. So we're going to play with breath of fire, and we're going to add a type of pranayama or breath control that is called Sitali breathing. So if you want to indulge me for a second, you can try this. So we're going to make a taco tongue. So it's like making a loop with your tongue. Now, not everybody can physically do this. So if you're someone who that's not accessible with your tongue, what you're going to do instead is breathe through your teeth. Okay, so we're going to, if available, make that taco tongue. And we're going to do breath of fire through the taco tongue. So in and out through the taco tongue. So maybe bring a hand to your belly so you can get that snapping action on the exhale, passive inhale. So go ahead and try it, taco tongue. Cool. Okay. So now you know what we're going to do. Remember, you can do it in and out through your teeth instead. And we're going to be doing that while we're in an asana or a yoga pose about midway through the Kriya. Also, one of my favorite Kriyas, Sat Kriya, is woven into this as well. It's like a Kriya within a Kriya. So this is exciting because this class and our next class, between the two of those, we're going to be introduced to the three primary Kriyas in Kundalini Yoga. So the first one, Sat Kriya, in no particular order, but Sat Kriya is going to be a pretty specific timing. This is actually, today was day 38, I think, of a 40-day Kriya practice. So this is something that I'm very familiar with. I do it every day. So for Sat Kriya, you don't have to do this with me, but just to save us some time when we're getting into it later, we come into rock pose. So you saw me just move from Sukhasana or easy seat into rock pose. We've done this before. But when you're sitting in rock pose, your heels are right in those sits bones, ischial tuberosity. So you want to make sure you're not splaying your toes in, heels out. That's more comfortable. So see if you can add a little layer, heels into sits bones. You're going to press right into those acupressure points. And then from here, we're going to bring the arms up overhead in Sapana Mudra. So Sapana Mudra is that pistol mudra. Left thumb over right to receive, right thumb over left if you're in a place where you need to take action. Historically, females would be cued to do left thumb on top, males right thumb on top. But we have a broader understanding of what masculine and feminine energy are now and how we have all of them, both of them. Okay, so when you're in Sat Kriya, biceps are hugging in toward the ears. A little tip that I didn't get until very deep into doing this Kriya, like this isn't the first time I've done this as a 40-day Kriya, is to think about sliding your shoulder blades, your scapulae, onto your rib cage. So see if you can relax the back with still a lot of support and hug those biceps into the ears. So you can think about the tailbone through the index fingers, making a line straight up to the heavens. And so when we do that, we're going to sat nam, sat nam, sat nam. So you can see I'm snapping here, sat nam, sat nam. So it's that pull in through the solar plexus, and then you relax on the nam. Remember, Sat Nam means truth is my essence, or I am truth. All right, so that is our Sat Kriya. I'll give you a little more tips when we get into it. And we're just going to do that for a minute and a half. I know that might sound like a long time, but typically this is done in 3 minutes, 7 minutes, 11 minutes, even 22 minutes. So you'll get a little taste of that. And then finally, today, one of the other three primary Kriyas in Kundalini Yoga is Kirtan Kriya, which is what is going to be our meditation at the end of our practice today. So this is a super beautiful meditation, and we'll do it for about 6 minutes. The first part, we're going to be chanting audibly. The second part is a whisper, and the last part is silent. So I'm going to be playing a track that you'll just follow along to. But what I want to explain is the mudra for this one is important. So you'll be just in your easy seat. And as you say the words sa, ta, na, ma, you're going to change the position of your hands, just like I just did. So in your easy seat, we start with Gyan Mudra. This is something we've maybe become familiar with. And so this is our Jupiter finger, and that's where we say the word sa. And so sa can be translated to mean birth or breath or beginning. For the word ta, we switch to our middle finger. Ta represents life. And this is our Saturn finger. This is called Shuni Mudra, which represents patience, discernment, and wisdom. For Na, we change to our ring finger. Surya Mudra, this is for energy, vitality, and good health. And this finger represents the sun, which is energizing, strengthening the nervous system, and our inner fire, which today actually happens to be a full moon in Leo, which is also sun energy. So I feel like we're going to get a lot from this meditation today. So sa, ta, na, ma. So we have birth, life, death or ending, and then rebirth. So the pinky finger to the thumb, this is Buddhi Mudra, and this stimulates our capacity to communicate clearly. And this is our Mercury finger as well. So this governs our quickness, mental power, and communication. So we'll do 2 minutes out loud, 2 minutes whisper, and then 2 minutes silently just chanting those words in our head. So it will start to, it's just on repetition. So it will start to really allow you to get into that meditative space. And I'll invite you, as you get more familiar with moving your fingers and chanting the words and connecting to what they mean for you. It's really whatever you're intuiting or downloading as you move through this practice. But you can visualize the words coming through the crown of your head and then out the third eye. So sa, ta, na, ma. So it's just another layer for that. And then as always, if we have the eyes closed in meditation, we're floating the eyes up behind closed eyelids toward that pineal gland, toward third eye chakra, midbrain, and then beyond. Okay, so that was a mouthful. Let's start to rub the hands together and we will prepare to tune in. So rubbing the hands together really gets us into our heart space. Hands as an extension of heart chakra, where we come into community with one another in this world, in this life. We can all use a little bit more love. So you can start to slow that down and then press thumbs into sternum or elbows into the sides of the rib cage. Take a big, slow breath in. Deep cleansing breath out. And then we'll inhale to tune in. Om. 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 Angure name, Jugadgure name, Satgure name, Siddhi Gurudeve name. Adgure name, Jugadgure name, Satgure name, Siddhi Gurudeve name. Adgure name, Jagadguru Name, Satguru Name, Sri Guru Deve Name. Big breath in. Press the belly out with breath. Squeeze and lift the pelvic floor. Squeeze the spine. Tuck the chin. Lift the crown. Release the hands into Gyan Mudra. Index and thumb together. Arms long. Keep holding the breath as long as you can. Keep squeezing, squeezing, squeezing. Whenever you need to, exhale and take inventory. A few deep breaths here. Letting yourself really arrive. Letting that opening mantra set the tone for your practice. Giving yourself a little time out here to reconnect with your authenticity, your purpose, your place in space. If you happen to be seated on a prop, you're just going to pluck that prop out. Sits bones connect to the floor, palms turn down, and begin your Sufi grind. It doesn't matter which way you start. You're going to inhale and arch your back as you come forward. And then exhale, round through the spine as you circle back. Eyes can be open or closed, closed for a more inner experience, open if that makes you feel a little bit safer, a little bit more secure. Remember to coordinate with your breath. So again, inhaling forward and exhaling back. We have more space through the lungs as we arch the back coming forward. And then we can get a little more integration, a little deeper release when we exhale as we round through the spine. Maybe you start to engage that Mula Bandha root lock. Even as you're doing this Sufi grind, just create it's like plugging the tub, like a closure for the bottom of your energy centers. This is going to allow us to ascend a little bit higher. And then as that energy starts to shoot up through the spine, as you start to connect with spirit, higher realms, it recycles back down into the body. And we don't want that to just go nowhere. We want this higher vibration that we're creating in our body to move up back down so that we can live with purpose, so that we can stay connected to our truth, to our authenticity, and we can bring the spirit world into the here and the now. These movements can feel really juicy, like super, I can just so visualize like the spine just stirring the pot of all of that coiled energy at the base of the spine. Kundal in Kundalini literally translates to coil. So you can picture that energy just like a coiled up snake at the bottom of your spine that wants to go up, stirring up that latent potential, all of that creative energy stored at the base of the spine, bowl of the pelvis. And then go ahead and reverse the direction of your circles here. We have mantras running through our head. Maybe you're thinking, am I doing this right? Or, oh man, I can't wait to have lunch. Or I have whatever else happening after this that's maybe distracting you. Bring yourself back to the breath, bring yourself back to the movement. And a great way to do that is to change the narrative in your head. Inhaling Sat, exhaling Nam. If there's something else that resonates a little better for you today, go for it. We're all born with this birthright mantra that connects us to our breath, and that is so hum. So maybe you inhale so and exhale hum. Really no particular translation to my knowledge for that one. So if that lands a little better, maybe it's so hum. Maybe it's sat nam. Whatever you need. If your eyes are closed, or even if they're open in your mind's eye, maybe you start to picture that coil of energy unraveling just ever so slightly, and you invite it to move up. We'll be here for a few more seconds. Good. And then on your next inhale, just come to your upright spine. Step into that goddess or God version of yourself, just the embodiment of spirit. Feel all of your spinal vertebrae align. Feel your crown lift and your sits bones root. Eyes blink open to a soft gaze, just so you can see what we're doing next. Index and middle finger are going to come to the thumb. So we've done Gyan Mudra. We're going to bring the middle finger into Gyan Shuna Mudra. So both hands, index, middle finger to thumb. Arms are going to come up to 90 degrees. Think goalpost or cactus arms. And so you're going to inhale left and exhale right. So for this one, the eyes will be closed again, gently elevating the eyes toward third eye center, but it's a So go ahead and begin whenever you're ready. You'll be here for just over a minute. And let's add some heat here. So I want you to do this as fast as feels appropriate in your body today. And remember, just like our breathing, long, slow, deep breathing, breath of fire, there is a wide range and it's going to look different for every body. We, in our Sufi grind, started to generate that flow, that energy, that lift from the pelvic bowl. Now, what you might be experiencing is that energy up a little bit higher. So we're moving from the gut brain into the heart brain here. So front and back of the heart, twisting through the thoracic spine. Arms are out in that strict 90-degree position, best you can. Fingers are pressing firmly tip to tip here. And your head and shoulders are along for the ride. So we're not turning the neck, you're turning the whole rib cage. 30 more seconds here, please. Notice if you're arching your back a little bit. Can you keep that light squeeze of the spine as you work out some nourishment through the thoracic? Last 3, 2, 1. Find center, big breath in. And then release, hands come down, palms facing up. Take a few deep breaths here. Good, eyes float open, and I'll demonstrate our next movements. This is our life nerve stretch with a side bend. So you're gonna come to a wide V with the legs here. So we're not trying to go into kind of like the widest possible stance that's available for our body. You could start there, you could go really wide. And then I want you to scale it back a few inches and really make sure that your sits bones are rooted down. That might mean that you're sitting on a block or a blanket at home. And next, we're going to bring the arms up overhead, biceps in line with the ears, just like I described for our Sat Kriya, which we'll be doing a little bit later. So now we're going to turn to the right and then release the torso, hinging from the hips. We're going to inhale up, open up to the left, and exhale. Inhale up, exhale right. Inhale up, exhale left. Please continue or begin if you haven't already. So when you inhale in that center position, really expand the body with your breath. Think about breathing into every cell in your whole body. And then as you exhale, hinging from your hips, feel the energetic extension up and over to one side, lengthening and stretching through the side body, as well as the life nerve that runs through the back of the leg. So for Kundalini Yoga, we can be a little less precise from an anatomical standpoint in terms of how we're holding our body. So you've got options here with the legs, and I want you to experiment with them. You can keep your legs just super relaxed, just like melting into the earth. And you can make this really about the upper half. Or you can activate your toes, pull your toes up toward their own kneecaps, engaging, that's the word, engaging through the front of the thigh. And this is going to bring more sensation to that life nerve through the back of the thigh. This is just anatomically that law of reciprocal relationship between various muscle groups. So front of the thigh or quadricep muscles have a relationship to your hamstring muscles, which is where you're really feeling the stretch in the back of your thigh right now. So you can enhance that by activating the quads. The more engaged they are, the more the back of the thigh has to relax. Or you can keep it nice and soft and really make your focus on extending from the hips through the crown of the head, nourishing through the spine. Good. And then feel even right to left. And then inhale, arms up, find center. And then exhale back into your easy seat. Hands to the thighs, palms up or down, whatever you need. Take a few deep breaths. Center your sensations. And maybe tap into this awareness that your body is an instrument for the deeper parts of yourself. And by moving your instrument in this way, you're developing the capacity, the ability to perceive into the unknown, giving your body a place in space from which your soul can migrate. When you're ready, eyes open again. This next one, we're going to come to stand. So we're going to come into our horse stance here. So this is like goddess position in other styles of yoga. And second position, if you're familiar with dance, and if you're a weightlifter, sumo squat position. Okay. So again, so some of these other methods that I just mentioned are going to be pretty strict. Knees over ankles, thighs parallel to the floor. For our purposes, it's okay if you want to be up here a little bit more, and it's okay if the toes are turned out maybe more like 45 degrees. It's totally up to you. If you really want to go for it, you can bring those thighs parallel to the floor. Our hands, our mudra, it's like you want to come, you're about to come into prayer, but instead you're going to hold the hands about 6 inches apart. So you're holding that ball of energy. And for this one, this is where we're going to do that Sitali Breath of Fire. So I'm going to come into the pose, bring your hands about 6 inches apart, close your eyes and have an inner experience here. Feel whatever sensation you might feel in between your hands. Maybe it feels like a buoyant ball of energy. Maybe your hands feel puffy. Maybe there's nothing at all, and you can just imagine that feeling. That's totally fine. Now, I want you to begin your Sitali Breath of Fire. So that's that taco tongue or breathing through the teeth, sharp in, sharp out. Beautiful. Good. Snapping the belly back on the exhale, passive on the inhale. Remember, if this becomes too much for your nervous system or your body, you can adjust and make it work for you. You can slow down your breathing, or you can change the position of your thighs. If you can, I'll invite you to push through that wanting to stop. You'll be here for less than another minute. I know maybe your throat is getting cold, maybe your mouth is getting dry. Can you stay with it a little bit longer and just see what happens? Can you let yourself drift into the space of invisibility? And let your thighs take on the pressure here. So holding this shape with your body is helping to build new blood cells with every beat of your heart. Your heart rate is accelerating with every breath that you take. 10 more seconds here. Good. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Big breath in, close the lips. And then exhale. You're going to spin your toes forward and hinge forward. Just come into dangling. If your heart is really elevated or you're having a hard time catching your breath, just come into a nice flat back. It feels okay in your body and your soul. Let your head hang. You can soften your knees if you need to. This should feel nourishing. Give yourself a few moments here. And then slowly roll all the way up to standing. We're going to remain standing for this next piece of the Kriya as well. So for this one, we're going to move from a standing prayer pose into eagle warrior. So what we're doing with our hands is a prayer pose on Jali Mudra, almost like what we were doing before, but hands are touching. And then as you come forward, your arms are going to come out to the side. So we'll be here just standing. Make sure that my head doesn't get cut off in this video. Hands are at prayer to start. Maybe you're in the middle of your mat or the back of your mat if you have one. Hands in prayer. And then you're going to step forward with one foot, arms come out to the side, and then back to prayer. You'll step forward with the opposite foot and then back to prayer. So go ahead and begin, and then we'll start to refine this movement a little bit. So when you're in your mountain pose or Vastu pose, your place in space, very stable, very grounded. Align your spine and really fill the whole body with breath on the inhale. And then as you step forward on your exhale, think about that knee staying in line with your toes. Make sure the foot's not turned out. We're trying to kind of move in the same plane here. And then really expand out, but I want you to keep the arm bones hugging in toward the shoulder blades simultaneously so you get a stretch through the whole arm. Remember, arms, hands, extension of the heart. So experiment with opening your heart here. We're continuing this movement with grace, with precision, and letting the movement become a meditation. If you're feeling balanced, stable, and courageous today, I'm going to invite you, as you come into mountain pose, to close your eyes and then begin the movement as you step forward, eyes open. And when we do that, you're building a relationship between the mental, physical, and emotional bodies. You can feel the projection of your intention, standing securely in your place in space, and then moving bravely and fearlessly into the future, opening your eyes to that which you are creating in this present moment. Let yourself become that which is going to overcome. I want you to feel even right to left here, left to right. And then once you do, just inhale into your mountain pose and hold. Good. Release your arms out like a V. It's like the, I don't know, stance. And then you're going to stand strongly on your right leg, hug all of those muscles into the bones. And then float your left leg up. So my knee came out about 45 degrees. My foot's not really touching, but I'm going to hold this Shiva pose for about 30 seconds. Make sure you're not leaning to the side. Option to close your eyes. That makes balancing so much more challenging, but also so meaningful. I learned so much when I close my eyes. Totally fine if you stumble over. I do it all the time. It's great practice for life. See if you can stay elevated through your spine here and stable on your standing leg. And then go ahead and release left foot down and come up on the other side. So we're opening up the hip here, but it's not super dramatic. Relax the space between your eyebrows. Relax the muscles around your mouth. And feel yourself just breathing long and slow and deep here. We're going to switch back to standing on the right leg. Left leg comes up, hip opens. Can you trust yourself to stand on one leg? And then last time switch. Okay, release that right foot down to the floor. Let's stack one hand over the other hand over the heart and let your chin drop down. Take an inventory of your inner experience here. Take a big breath in and a slow breath out. Head floats up, spine comes to neutral. And you're going to just adjust your stance if you're not there already to feet being about hips width or shoulder width for a little broader stance here, a little more stable foundation. We're just going to paint the aura. So what you're going to do is find that balance and strength through your feet, pliability in the knees. We're going to inhale the arms up and then exhale, wash through. Inhaling up, exhale, hinging through. So when you come up, you're reaching far back as you can. And same thing as you hinge and the arms come up, it's like you were drawing a giant circle and your hands are energetically touching each other at the top of both ends of your breath. You could have your eyes open gently here to maintain your balance, or you could choose to close your eyes. Just continue painting and polishing your aura from the inside out. Let yourself create a radiant, protective shield for your being. A shield that allows in anything that is meant for you. And a shield that just lets everything else bounce right off. No energetic vampires getting through. Nothing that doesn't serve your highest good. About 30 more seconds here. Maybe you start to envision making this arc from your feet all the way up through your fingertips. Your whole body moving in this spiraling pattern. And then inhale all the way up, spread your fingers wide, arch your back, lean back. And then neutralize your spine and just shake, shake, shake those hands, wrists, elbows. Maybe you start to move through your whole spine. You can bend your knees. Just let all of that radiant energy permeate through your entire being. Good. And then you're going to make your way back down to your mat, coming into rock pose for Sat Kriya. So heels in line with sits bones, inner thighs squeezing together. Find that root lock. Find your nice long spine. Tuck your chin slightly. Get the spine first. Get your seat first. And then bring the arms up overhead in your Sapana Mudra. Biceps hugging into the ears. I'm going to do this with you the whole time. Chin stays tucked. So what I tend to see happen is it can be pretty uncomfortable in the upper traps. So people tend to round forward or even just draw their arms forward. So best you can, keep hugging those biceps into the ears, and let's begin. Sat, nam, 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 sat, nam. Big inhale. Squeeze the pelvic floor, squeeze the spine, visualize energy through your index fingers up to the sky. Open your mouth, exhale, release the hands to the thighs. Big breath in through the nose. Cannon breath through the lips. 2 more. Inhale through the nose. Cannon breath, exhale. Last one, inhale. Exhale. And please make your way all the way onto your back for relaxation. Take a second. Maybe you need to put your sweater on, your socks, grab a blanket. Maybe you prefer to stay in an upright seat for your rest. Maybe you want to lie on your back or your side or your belly rather than your back. Do what you need to do to feel very supported and very comfortable here. If it feels safe for you to do so at home, go ahead and close your eyes. Feel your body surrender into that feminine aspect of grounding. Let yourself feel held by the earth. Let yourself soften into that space of surrender. Maybe you're experimenting with this from a place of discomfort or unfamiliarity. Can you gift yourself the next few moments just feeling held and supported, seen, acknowledged for exactly who you are, not what you do, not who you're becoming, but who you are in this precious, fleeting moment in time. I'm holding space for you energetically in this moment. And the earth is holding space for you physically in this moment. Relax your mind, relax your body, relax your breath, slow down your heart, and let yourself rest comfortably for another couple of minutes here. Take a little deeper breath. Envision dropping all the way back into your body flow. Lying in stillness, notice your fingers in your mind's eye and start to wiggle your fingers. And then bring your hands to connect over your body and start to rub them together, just like we did at the beginning of our Kriya. And then open your hips, bring your foot soles together, rub them together. You could even do a little breath of fire here to really fully inhabit the body. Remember, we want to bring the energy up. We want to bring the energy back down to create this beautiful loop. We're here in this earth plane, in this body. We have access to our heavenly body. Can you integrate both together here? If you've opted for breath of fire, switch to long, slow, deep breathing. Hug your knees in. Maybe take little twists from the pelvis, side to side. Any little movements that you want to do here before we move into our meditation. If you're not there already, bring your knees into a tight hug here. Head and shoulders can lift up. Big squeeze. Hands can be over the shins or behind the thighs. Soften back slightly with the head and shoulders and grip the back of the thighs. Activate your feet and rock your body up on to seated. Set yourself up for our meditation. So you're going to come into your Sukhasana, easy seat, just like I'm in now. Take a second to get really cozy here. Option to sit on a prop or just on the mat. And remember, the mudra is going to be Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. Both hands, Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. Palms are facing up. Backs of the hands might be resting on your thighs here. And you're going to hear a track playing. We're going to sing, chant mantra out loud, whisper, and then silently, and then we'll reverse it back. So you can just follow along, eyes closed, gently gazing up toward third eye. And you'll hear as things get going here. Remember thinking of the words coming through the crown and out your third eye as you chant them.
Satanama, 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 Satanama,
And take a deep breath. And sigh it out. Inhaling deeply. And exhaling completely. And take one more integrative breath. And let it go all the way. Hands come into prayer at heart center if that feels comfortable for you. Maybe thumbs root at third eye. Maybe you hinge forward slightly from your hips, humbly bowing to this process, this experience of relearning yourself. May the long time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Sat Nam. Namaste. Thank you so much for being here.